Okay guys, sorry the camera cut out there for a minute. I had issues with it on my phone, so this is going to be a two-part video. And I'm coming back with part two. So we were just talking about the baby golden roaches, the baby shiners, for the summer fishing. Anywhere from June to September is my definition of summer perch fishing, pretty much. At least in the waters I fish here on Lake Michigan. And so let's talk about alternative baits. Let's say you can't get to the bait shop, or you don't have a bait shop near you, which is becoming a reality for more and more people because the bait shops are closing. You know, you can't get minnows at Walmart, at least not that I know of, at least not any locally. Some of the bigger sporting goods stores do carry minnows, but that's very, very, you know, kind of unpredictable, you know, not the most common thing for them to have. So some do, some don't. So if you have a big box store near you, you can look there. But I highly recommend, if you have any local tackle shops, you buy from them before going to the big box stores. Just because they're mostly family run shops, and you know, it's not easy business running the bait shop. So we got the rods. You know, I use ultralights, I use lights, I've used medium lights in the past. And you know, like a walleye, medium light walleye rod actually. And those work fine for the jumbos too. So any setup you have will work, just nothing really heavy, because the perch bite really light. You know, sometimes the dinks will actually take it like that. Or the jumbos, sometimes you just see your line drift, or it's just a little down motion, and then you set the hook and you get them. Well, it's winter when you're going to be doing a lot of this fishing. And some bait shops for ice fishing, they carry maggots, also called spikes, in various different colors and everything like that. I like the white spikes, just the natural colored ones with no dyes or anything put into them. They live a lot longer too. They keep for months in the fridge. I'm not going to get into how to keep them and everything like that. That would be other better resources. You can look up on the internet for that. But I like keeping them in a bait puck, one of the Strike Master bait pucks, or an Eagle Claw bait puck, or one of the plastic, you know, bait pucks that's insulated, and you can put them in your pocket during the cold weather so they don't freeze and they don't crush either, if you happen to sit on them or something. And believe it or not, I have caught keeper perch on the spikes too. If they weren't on a minnow bite, which they usually are, but if they're not on a minnow bite or you can't get minnows, don't overlook spikes. They're a phenomenal bait. Now, I will say something about the spikes is you do catch a lot of little ones on them. So what I do is I kind of pile them on. You know, use 3 or 4 spikes on each hook to kind of, you know, make it a little bit difficult for the little perch to get their mouths on. But I have caught keepers with that too, if all else fails. We've also used night crawlers out there. Believe it or not, we have caught perch in the winter on night crawlers too. Night crawler pieces. You know, the same perch rigs with night crawler pieces. Red worms. I don't think we've really used red worms that much. So minnows would always be the number one choice. The number one choice. If you can't get those, go to spikes. Waxworms, aka bee moths, I raise them still, but they don't seem to always catch perch consistently. Not like the spikes do. You can order spikes even online if there's not a bait shop. You can order them in bulk quantities. The shipping does kind of suck, but if you're going with friends or something, let's say you got fishing buddies, you could buy 500 or 1,000 of them, and they do keep, and use them, and you got backup perch bait and ice fishing bait if you ice fish for bluegill and crappie, and also perch through the ice. They keep there too. So, in conclusion, make sure I don't hit anything here with these rods. And I just did, of course. Don't need anything heavy. The lighter, the more sensitive the rod, the better. When you're perch fishing, it's going to be cold most of the time. So bring a little minnow net so you don't have to dip your hands in the cold minnow water. It really helps. Got a little styrofoam piece on there so it actually floats in the minnow bucket. Get yourself a little minnow aerator with an air stone. I don't have my aerator attached right now, but here's like an aquarium air stone. The aerator would clip on here and it pumps oxygen into the water for the minnows. Which they're easier to keep. The minnows, I found out, are a lot easier to keep during the cold weather, believe it or not, than they are during the warm weather. Which is good for fall, winter, and early spring, like March, early April perch fishing, because it's typically cooler at that time of the year. Obviously, you don't want them to freeze, but they do keep a lot better in that cold weather than they do in the hot summer weather. In the hot summer weather, I don't even buy them days in advance. Because I lose too many, and it's just not worth it. I stop the day of or the night before or something and keep them indoors even, or, you know, with the aerator on so they don't go belly up on you. Especially those shiners. They're a little more expensive, but they're not as hardy, and you will lose bait if you don't do that. Not to discourage anybody, but we got the minnow buckets, we got the rods. Show you an example of the weights we use. More miscellaneous perch fly rigs. Again, these work for the deeper water. And the weights I'm sure you've seen before are just the common bell weights. They have the little round piece on the top, and then the weight. You can just clip them onto the bottom swivel, add your minnows or spikes, and send it down there. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I know it's probably not one of the best videos I've ever made, but I hope you guys learned something from it. And I also hope to see you guys out on the water for the perch fishing season 2025 through 2026. Thank you. Stay tuned. And I'll have more fishing content coming. Thank you guys.